Good morning, everyone. So, let us start our class today, and I'll share the text. Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. And today we will begin Act 2 of this play. So, I have already completed Act 1. Some of you who were present in the last class, you will remember. Uh, in Act 1, we got, uh, we were introduced to the main characters, Algernon Moncrieff and Jack Worthing, and also Lady Bracknell and uh, Gwendolyn Fairfax. So let us see what happens in Act 2. Now, this act begins with the setting of, the manor house in the countryside. That is Jack Worthing's residence in the countryside, where his ward, Cecily, lives with her governess, that is Miss Prism. Now, so let us read. The scene is a garden at the manor house. A flight of grey stone steps leads up to the house. Garden. So there is this at the beginning of this act. We have got the description. So garden at the manor house. A flight of grey stone steps leads up to the house. The garden, an old-fashioned one, full of roses. So it's quite a picturesque kind of a place. Time of year, July. So it's the month of July. Basket chairs and a table covered with books are set under a large yew tree. So it is an old-fashioned kind of a garden decorated by chairs and a table. Miss Prism discovered seated at the table. Cecily is at the back watering flowers. Now, this particular surname, Prism, one of the critics, uh, he has made a kind of a research, and he said that in this name, most probably, Oscar Wilde uh, took this name from Charles Dickens's novel, Little Dorrit, so which was published in the year 1857. Now, in Little Dorrit, there is a speech which I'll be quoting. Quote, Papa, potatoes, poultry, prunes, and prism are all very good words for the lips, especially prunes and prism, unquote. So, prunes and prism, it has come to be applied to a prim or a kind of an appropriate, affected manner of speech, and to people who adopt this kind of a manner. So, Miss Prism, she is a kind of a proper governess who looks after Cecily. So, she obviously has this responsibility that has been given to her by the guardian, Cecily's guardian, Jack Worthing. Calling Cecily, Cecily, surely such a utilitarian occupation uh, as the watering of flowers is rather Moulton's duty than yours, especially at a moment when intellectual pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray open it at page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson. So actually, Cecily is learning German, the German language, and she has just gone away, and she is most probably, she doesn't like to learn German, and she has gone away to water the flowers. And here, uh, you know, uh, Miss Prism is calling to her loudly, asking her to come back to her lesson. So, utilitarian occupation. Now, utilitarian occupation means beneficial work. So, uh, obviously, watering the flowers, that is not her duty. It is the duty of the gardener, whose name is or surname is Moulton. So, obviously, she has to concentrate on more intellectual uh, pleasures. So she asks her to come back, coming over very slowly. So we can understand that she is not at all interested in learning German. But I don't like German. It isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well that I look quite plain after my German lesson. So it is a very funny statement, as you can understand, that she's saying that first she comes over in a very slowly, in a slow way, and then when she comes over, she says that it's not a becoming language, meaning it is not a suitable or appropriate language. So obviously she doesn't like to learn German. That's one thing. And another thing is that she's saying that she looks quite plain, that is stupid and dull. She looks quite stupid and foolish after taking those German lessons. So obviously, this is a very funny kind of a statement that one should look plain and dull. So that means that she finds this language so boring. Obviously, we can understand that. Child, you know how anxious your guardian is that you should improve yourself in every way. He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. So, your guardian means Jack Worthing. Obviously, we know that he is in London. He has gone to the city, and he has specifically asked Miss Prism to uh, so that to take care that Cecily should learn German. Indeed, he always lays stress on your German when he is leaving for town. So obviously he is always stressing on uh, uh, these German lessons whenever he leaves for London. So somehow Mm, Jack Worthing finds the German language to be quite necessary for as a foreign language. Dear Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he's so serious that I think he cannot be quite well. So here Cecily is saying that, well, he's a very serious minded person. And sometimes he adopts this serious attitude, and he puts so much emphasis on German language, and he looks so serious that I have started to doubt on his mental health. That is what she says. Drawing herself up, your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanor is especially to be commended in one so comparatively young as he is. I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility. So, drawing herself up, obviously, it means that Miss Prism is kind of, you know, offended by this statement by Cecily. So obviously she says that, well, your guardian is perfectly healthy, and his seriousness is not, of course, not a mental illness. So your guardian is well within his rights to uh, ask you to learn German. And she also adds that his gravity of demeanor of obviously it means that he is he has a very serious kind of attitude. So young people are not really often, they are found to be so serious. So he has a sense of a high sense of duty and responsibility towards you. That is what uh, she is saying. I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility. So he's a young man, but he is really remarkable in this way. I suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together. So Cecily keeps on making funny statements. So she is saying that, well, I think it is due to his higher sense of duty and responsibility that he often appeared somewhat bored when three of us, that is, you, that is Miss Prism, she herself, and Jack are together. Cecily, I am surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. Idle merriment and triviality would be out of place in his conversation. You must remember his constant anxiety about that unfortunate young man, his brother. So, obviously, Miss Prism is aware that Jack Worthing uh, has this invalid brother, who is, of course, a figment of his imagination. But Miss Prism assumes that he is a real brother and he is an invalid, and Jack Worthing has to look after him all the time. So Miss Prism says to Cecily that she is quite surprised by the way you are talking about your guardian. So actually, he has several problems in his life, and therefore he is not interested or used to vain mirth and trivial behavior in his conversation. So he is always serious minded, and uh, that person, that is his unfortunate uh, brother, who is always ill, he has to be looked after. I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. We might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I am sure you certainly would. You know German and geology and things of that kind influence a man very much. Cecily begins to write in her diary. So Cecily she expresses the wish that that particular invalid young man should come here. And why? Because she feels that this atmosphere and their company would bring a kind of a change, and it would prove a good influence for that person. So obviously, she is saying that since you know German very well and geology and all those things, so those difficult subjects and language, obviously that would be a very good influence that is bound to create a good influence on him. So then she starts to do her German lessons, shaking her head. I do not think that even I could produce any effect on a character that, according to his own brother's admission, is irretrievably weak and vacillating. So Miss Prism is not so optimistic. She shakes her head in disagreement. She says that, well, I do not think that I can really, you know, uh, create any kind of, have any kind of influence on that person, that is, that sick, invalid brother. Because Jack Worthing has already told me, Mr. Worthing, that is, that his brother is very weak. He is a very unstable kind of a person, and he is incorrigible. That is, he cannot be corrected, or he cannot recover. Vacillating means one who is changing one's mind often, a kind of a uh, not sticking to one's opinion for long, and moving to another opinion. So she's not sure that she will have a good influence. Indeed, I am not sure that I would desire to reclaim him. I am not in favor of this modern mania for turning bad people into good people at a moment's notice. She's saying that, well, I am not in favor of this modern obsession to reform bad people into good people at such a short time, within such a short time. As a man sows, so let him reap. You must put away your diary, Cecily. I really don't see why you should keep a diary at all. So she was writing something else, not doing her lessons. So, as a man sows, so let him reap. So, obviously, this is from the Bible, from Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, Galatians. Uh, and I'm quoting, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So, uh, the way a man acts or behaves, he will have the consequences, likewise. So Miss Prism quotes from the Bible. She says this, that uh, he will have to face the results of his actions. I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them. So she loves to keep a diary, and she obviously obviously wants to jot down all the wonderful things that have happened to her. Uh, Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary that we all carry about with us. So she says that, well, the human mind is itself a kind of a diary. You can remember the mind, it is stored, your experiences, they are stored in your mind. Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that have never happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe that memory is responsible for nearly all the three-volume novels that Moody sends us. So here she is saying that, well, that is correct, but human memory generally it keeps a record of the things that have never taken place and which probably have no chance of taking place. So actually, it doesn't really remember the actual facts, and she believes that human memory is responsible for the production of nearly all the three-volume novels that Moody sends us for reading. Now, uh, Moody is a circulating library. Moody is circulating library, and in those days, many people subscribed to that, and they used to send books uh, for readers, and the latest publications were sent to different subscribers. Do not speak slightingly of the three-volume novel, Cecily. I wrote one myself in earlier days. So Miss Prism is also a writer. She had written one of the one such novel, three-volume novel. So it was uh, a novel which came out, had three parts. So don't speak of that three-volume novel in a disparaging tone. Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much. So Cecily again is really funny here. She appreciates the fact that Miss Prism had written a novel, but she hopes that it was not a it did not have a happy ending, because happy endings did not really encourage her or lift her spirits. It made her feel depressed. So really, uh, kind of a statement which is out of the ordinary, obviously. The good ended happily and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means. So the good people, they finally they found happiness, and the bad people, they suffered. So that is fiction. Uh, that is fiction all about. So here Miss Prism says that, well, I was I kept to this formula. I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was your novel ever published? So it's unfair. So the bad people should suffer, and good people should prosper. Alas, no. The manuscript, unfortunately, was abandoned. So Cecily starts. I use the word in the sense of lost or mislaid. To your work, child, these speculations are profitless. So Miss Prism actually lost that manuscript. She could not publish it. The novel was abandoned. At first, when she says this word, Cecily is utterly surprised. And then she explains that it was lost or mislaid. Smiling, but I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden. So here a new character comes in. Uh, he is actually a priest. Miss Prism rising and advancing. Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure. Enter Canon Chasuble. Now, Canon Chasuble, of course, uh, he is a priest with the title the Reverend Canon, and they had their duties, religious duties, in a cathedral. And this word chasuble, it is the outermost garment worn by bishops and priests when they're observing certain religious Christian rituals. And so obviously it suits this person. And how are we this morning? Miss Prism, you are, I trust, well. So Dr. Chasuble joins them. Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble. So this is really a lie, because uh, Miss Prism didn't say anything about headache, but presumably Cecily doesn't want to talk to Dr. Chasuble, so she suggests that uh, he should have a walk with Miss Prism. Cecily, I have not mentioned anything about a headache. No, dear Miss Prism, I know that, but I felt instinctively that you had a headache. Indeed, I was thinking about that, and not about my German lesson when the rector came in. So she explains why she uh, thought about that, the fact that Miss Prism might have a headache. Uh, I hope, Cecily, you are not inattentive. So the rector says this. Oh, I am afraid I am. So she frankly admits that I have not been paying attention to my German lessons. That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her lips. Miss Prism glares. So obviously she doesn't like the way Dr. Chasuble has said this. I spoke metaphorically. My metaphor was drawn from bees. Ahem. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has not returned from town yet. So uh, Dr. Chasuble sees that he has irritated Miss Prism, and he tries to say that, well, I was just speaking figuratively. And then he inquires about Jack Worthing. We do not expect him till Monday afternoon. Ah, yes, he usually likes to spend his Sunday in London. He's not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment, as, by all accounts, that unfortunate young man, his brother, seems to be. But I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer. So, as you can see, that Dr. Chasuble was talking about uh, Jack Worthing. Now, Jack Worthing has not returned. Now, here, Dr. Chasuble mentions the name Egeria. Now, according to Roman legend, this person, that is Egeria, she was the counselor and wife of King Numa, Numa. Uh, so, uh, in the works of Ovid, the Roman poet, uh, when Ovid says that when Numa died, she was extremely unhappy, and she melted into tears and was changed into a fountain by Diana. So that is the Roman story. Now, here he says, I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer. Now, Miss Prism is surprised because she says, my name is Letitia, doctor, so it's not Egeria. So why are you calling me Egeria. Actually, this word Letitia in Latin language, it means joy, delight, or exuberance. So, bowing, a classical allusion merely drawn from the pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evensong. So, Dr. Chasuble again explains that he was only referring to the pagan authors, that is Ovid and all the Roman authors. So that was his intention. So he is saying that I will meet you again later on in the evening prayer, during the evening prayers, evensong. I think, dear doctor, I will have a stroll with you. I find I have a headache after all, and a walk might do it good. So uh, finally, Miss Prism decides that she will have a stroll, that is a walk with Dr. Chasuble. With pleasure, Miss Prism, with pleasure. We might go as far as the schools and back. That would be delightful. Cecily, you will read your political economy in my absence. The chapter on the fall of the rupee you may omit. It is somewhat too sensational. Even these metallic problems have their melodramatic side. Goes down the garden with Dr. Chasuble. Now, the fall of the rupee, you know, Miss Prism asks Cecily to read political economy. Now, the fall of the rupee in the year 1873, the value of the Indian rupee it began to fall, and the government of India, of course, the British government, decided to close the mints in an attempt to check this fall. So here uh, the dramatist Oscar Wilde is referring to this, but Miss Prism says that you should not, uh, you need not read this part. You can omit that because it is so sensational. Obviously, you don't need to read this, uh, and because these currency problems, metallic problems, meaning currency problems, have their melodramatic sides or aspects. So, saying this, Miss Prism goes out to have her walk with Dr. Chasuble. Now, Cecily is left all alone. She picks up books and throws them back on the table. Horrid political economy, horrid geography, horrid German. So she is absolutely disgusted with these subjects. She doesn't want to read any of these subjects. Enter Merryman with a cart on a salver. Merryman is the butler here. So, as Algernon has Lane in his house, so here Merryman is the butler. Merryman says, Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He has brought his luggage with him. So, uh, as you can see, takes the card and reads it. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4, the Albany, W. Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town? So, obviously, Cecily knew about Ernest Worthing because Jack had sort of created him, the imaginary brother, and it is actually, as we all know, it is Algernon posing as Ernest Worthing. You will remember that he had heard about the address. He wrote it down on his shirt cuff, and now he has come to Jack's house. So here, as you can see, um, Cecily is she was not expecting Ernest Worthing, and she says that Mr. Worthing is not here. Yes, miss, he seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment. Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here. I suppose you had better talk to the housekeeper about a room for him. Yes, miss. Merriman goes off. Cecily now says, I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I am so afraid he will look just like everyone else. So here, actually, as you know, that she is, because Miss Prism has described uh, Jack Worthing's brother, Ernest Worthing, as bad, so she feels that uh, what he will look like. So I'm so afraid he will look like everybody else. So he will be very ordinary looking, not really like the other persons, the ordinary persons. Now Algernon enter Algernon very gay and debonair. He does. So he comes in, raising his hat. You are my little cousin Cecily, I am sure. You are under some strange mistake. I am not little. In fact, I believe I am more than usually tall for my age. So Cecily is, she doesn't like that. Uh, she says that I am not little. Algernon is rather taken aback. But I am your cousin, Cecily. You, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest. So, my wicked cousin Ernest. So, she looks at the card and says, well, you are his wicked cousin. Oh, I am not really wicked at all, cousin Cecily. You mustn't think that I am wicked. So, Algernon tries to drive that idea away from Cecily's mind that is wicked. If you are not, then you have certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy. So Cecily is aggrieved, irritated to find that he is declaring that he is not a wicked person. I'm really it's, if you're not really wicked, then you have surely been playing tricks on us. That is what she says, that you must be perhaps leading a double life, as he has been doing, of course, pretending to be wicked and being really good. Looks at her in amazement. Oh, of course, I have been rather reckless. So now he understands that he has to act like that. So he says that, yes, I have been reckless, I have been a bit imprudent. I am glad to hear it. In fact, now you mention the subject, I have been very bad in my own small way. So now he understands. So he says that, well, I have been very bad. In my own way, I have been very bad. Uh, I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I am sure it must have been very pleasant. So Cecily has a kind of admiration for Algernon that had been very bad. It is much pleasanter being here with you. I can't understand how you are here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon. That is a great disappointment. I am obliged to go up by the first train on Monday morning. I have a business appointment that I am anxious to miss. So he says that, well, he really doesn't want to go away. So he says this, that I have a business appointment, that he doesn't have any business appointment, of course. That's a lie. So he says this, couldn't you miss it anywhere but in London? No, the appointment is in London. Well, I know, of course, how important it is not to keep a business engagement if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life, but still, I think you had better wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to speak to you about your emigrating. So Cecily says that, well, you should remain here till Uncle Jack arrives. And obviously, he would talk to you about your emigration. So, Jack, actually, Algernon is surprised to hear this, his emigration. And so, about my what? So he is surprised. You're emigrating. He has gone up to buy your outfit, that is the clothes. I certainly wouldn't let Jack buy my outfit. He has no taste in neckties at all. So he doesn't want anything to be bought by Jack. I don't think you will require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia. Australia, I'd sooner die. So obviously, as you know, that during those times, the convicts, the people who were, they had committed some offense, crimes, they were sent to Australia. So this was a policy of the British government, and as a punishment, they were sent to Australia, the convicts. So obviously, Algernon is taken aback. He is he doesn't want to go to Australia. He says, I'd sooner die. Well, he said at dinner on a Wednesday night that you'd have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia. So either you have to stay here uh, in the in the town, or you have to die. The next world means that, or you have to be deported to Australia. So obviously, that was what Jack Worthing had said. Oh well, the accounts I have received of Australia and the next world are not particularly encouraging. This world is good enough for me, cousin Cecily. So he has no intention of dying or going to Australia. Yes, but are you good enough for it? I'm afraid I'm not that. That is why I want you to reform me. You might make that your mission, if you don't mind, cousin Cecily. So I want you to reform me. So I am a bad person. So actually, obviously, as you uh, can understand, that uh, he has sensed that Cecily is kind of interested in this uh, the bad persons, and he is acting like one, and he wants to be cured of his bad quality. Uh, I'm afraid I have no time this afternoon. Well, would you mind by reforming myself this afternoon? It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try. So, quixotic of you here, of course, it means to a kind of the hero in Don Quixote, a novel by Cervantes, the Spanish writer. It's a classic. Uh, you should, I recommend the novel to you. It's a very good read. It was published in 1605. So the main character in that novel was Don Quixote. Uh, it is pronounced like this. Uh, he was an old man who, along with his squire Panza, he went on a mission of rescuing, maidens in distress. So he was very had these all these romantic ideas, and he was rather a kind of a crazy kind of a person. He was impulsive and impractical and very chivalrous. Had ideas of chivalric ideas. So here Cecily is referring to that it's rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try. You are a bit impulsive. I will. I feel better already. You are looking a little worse. That is because I am hungry. How thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in? So now she remembers that he is their guest, and she asks Algernon to come in to take some food. Thank you. Might have a buttonhole first? I never have any appetite unless I have a buttonhole first. Um, so obviously here Algernon says that uh, he wants to have a flower to put in his buttonhole. So that was a kind of a ritual. So I never enjoy my food unless and until I have a flower in the buttonhole of my shirt. That is what he is saying. So he is quite fashionable. Miracle Neil picks up scissors. So here actually it means kind of it is a kind of climbing rose named after Adolphe Neil, who was the Marshal of France. He died in 1869, and this plant, this climbing rose, was introduced to England in the 1860s. So mm, Cecily picks up the scissors, and since they were in the garden, so she offers to cut a rose and put it into his buttonhole. No, I'd sooner have a pink rose. Why cuts a flower? Because you are like a pink rose, cousin Cecily. So he starts to flatter uh, Cecily. Uh, I don't think it can be right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me. So Cecily objects to his being so familiar with her, and Miss Prism doesn't say such things. Then Miss Prism is a short sighted old lady. Cecily puts the rose in his buttonhole. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw. Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare. So Miss Prism is always saying all these things, that it's kind of a trap. They are a snare that every sensible man would like to be caught in. So Algernon says that it's a kind of a snare that a sensible man would be like to caught in. Oh, I don't think I would care to catch a sensible man. I shouldn't know what to talk to him about. So rather should not like to have an intelligent or sensible man. So she plainly uh, admits that she would not be able to carry on a conversation with him. That is a sensible man, because he would be so knowledgeable, and he would be knowing many topics. They pass into the house. Miss Prism and Dr. Chasuble return. Now they have come back. Miss Prism is saying, "You are too much alone, dear Dr. Chasuble. You should get married. A misanthrope, I can understand. A womanthrope, never." So she is being funny. Uh, she says that you should get married. And you are, as you know, a misanthrope is a person who hates human beings in general. But womanthrope, it's a coinage, of course, a coinage of Miss Prism. Womanthrope, never. With a scholar's shudder, believe me, I do not deserve so neologistic a phrase. The precept, as well as the practice of the primitive church, was distinctly against matrimony. So Dr. Chasuble shudders. A scholar's shuddered. So actually, he is rather surprised the way Miss Prism was talking, and she had coined this new word, womanthrope. And of course, it cannot be found in the English dictionary, and she uh, has just made this up, and Dr. Chasuble cannot really be at ease that she has taken such liberties with the English language. So neologistic means a new word or phrase, neologistic. And that is what he says, that the primitive church to which he belongs was against matrimony. So it had forbidden priests to marry. Miss Prism sententiously, obviously speaking or acting, keeping in view morals, that is wisely. That is obviously the reason why the primitive church has not lasted up to the present day. And you do not seem to realize, dear doctor, that by persistently remaining single, a man converts himself into a permanent public temptation. Men should be more careful. This very celibacy leads weaker vessels astray. So, Miss Prism speaks in a moralistic tone. She says that I believe this is actually the reason why the old church has not been modernized in the present day. So she addresses Dr. Chasuble and says that you should understand that by remaining unmarried for such a long time, a man is converting himself into a permanent temptation. So men should be very careful in this regard, and remaining single makes man weaker and leads them to vices and illicit relationships. That's what she is saying. Celibacy, of course, the state of being unmarried, and weaker vessels. It means the weaker people, weaker. Of course, perhaps she means the women. But is a man not equally attractive when married? No married man is ever attractive except to his wife. So she makes this statement, and often I have been told, not even to her. That depends on the intellectual sympathies of the woman. So the intellectual sympathies of the wife. Maturity can always be depended on. Ripeness can be trusted. Young women are green. Dr. Chasuble starts. I spoke horticulturally. My metaphor was drawn from fruits. But where is Cecily? So she is saying that young women are green, actually, from the horticultural perspective. She says that uh, age can always be trusted and maturity can always be called reliable. And Uh, she is saying that young women are inexperienced. That is, she uses this term green, which Dr. Chasuble again is feels uncomfortable with this kind of word. And then Miss Prism explains that I was speaking from the horticultural aspect. So I was trying to compare such women with plants. Uh, she was trying to compare young women to unripe fruits. And now she discovers that Cecily is gone. She's not there. Perhaps she followed us to the schools. Entered Jack slowly from the back of the garden. He is dressed in the deepest mourning, with crape hatband and black gloves. So now Jack Worthing has come back. He is actually uh, dressed in mourning. So actually, he wants to give them the news that his invalid brother has died. That is why he is wearing such clothes, and that is in black, uh, crepe handband, and black gloves. And that would be, of course, a shock for them because they were not expecting him. Mr. Worthing, Mr. Worthing. So Miss Prism is really surprised, and Dr. Chasuble is. He had heard from Miss Prism that uh, mm, Mr. Worthing would not be back till Monday morning, so he is inquiring. So what made him come back? This is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon. So they were not. He was not expected. Shakes Miss Prism's hand in a tragic manner. I have returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chasuble, I hope you are well. So he is behaving in a very, uh, you know, uh, way that a man who has been bereaved. Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity. So Dr. Chasuble notices that he is wearing these clothes. So he asks him that is has some misfortune occurred? My brother, more shameful debts and extravagance. So Miss Prism says that well, he has incurred other dead, again debts and extravagance. He has been living an extravagant life. Still leading his life of pleasure? Chasuble asks, shaking his head. Dead. Your brother Ernest dead? Quite dead. What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it. So, Miss Prism is not at all saddened by this news. She says that, well, that would be a kind of a lesson for him, that he was such a bad person and he had led such an extravagant and bad life. Mr. Worthing, I offer you my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing that you were always the most generous and forgiving of brothers. So Dr. Chasuble is sensible enough to offer him uh, the condolence because he has lost his brother. So obviously, Dr. Chasuble says that you did everything in your power. You were always very generous. You provided him with money and you always forgave him. So you were so forgiving. You uh, did not complain. Poor Ernest, he had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow. So Jack is pretending now that his brother Ernest is dead and is grieving. Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end? No, he died abroad, in Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel. So his brother was in Paris and Jack couldn't be with him. Was the cause of death mentioned? A severe chill, it seems. As a man sows, so shall he reap. So again, Miss Prism is very severe on the imaginary poor brother. Obviously, she doesn't know that no one by the name of Ernest Worthing existed. Uh, she says that, well, the way he had acted, so he's reaping the results. Raising his hand, charity, dear Miss Prism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am peculiarly susceptible to draughts. Will the interment take place here? So, Dr. Chasuble tries to say to Miss Prism that, well, you should actually be a bit charitable, that you should have a forgiving attitude now that he has died. So, I am myself prone to catch cold when a strong wind blows. So, susceptible to drafts, that is cold, uh, uh, breeze. Will the interment means the burying, the burial ceremony. So will it take place here? No, he seems to have expressed a desire to be buried in Paris. So Jack doesn't want to bring his imaginary brother's dead body to here in this countryside. Obviously doesn't exist. In Paris, shakes his head. A fear that hardly points to any very serious state of mind at the last. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. Jack presses his hand convulsively. So, Dr. Chasuble would like to mention this loss that Jack Worthing has had in his Sunday service in church, in his sermon. And Jack shows his his consent at this. uh, you'd no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. My sermon on the meaning of the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful or, as in the present case, distressing. So, actually, Dr. Chasuble, as you know, on Sundays, the priests they deliver sermons from the Bible, and actually, Dr. Chasuble was scheduled to deliver this sermon on this heavenly manna. Manna means the food, heavenly food that was sent by God to the Israelites in the desert of Arabia. So that story is related in the Old Testament. So he was going to talk about that. But that is a joyful kind of a story, but Dr. Chasuble says that he can adapt that story uh, to this sad occasion. All sigh, so they are very sad. I have preached it at harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmations, on days of humiliation, and festal days. So Dr. Chasuble is very, he is he is very flexible in that way. He has preached this sermon on all occasions, on christenings, in harvest celebrations, on christenings, that is when the baptism occurred for babies, when they were given the names. And confirmation is it is a kind of a rite which is administered to a baptized person in various Christian churches. So Dr. Chasuble says that, well, I have delivered this sermon on all occasions. The last time I delivered it was in the cathedral as a charity sermon on behalf of the society for the prevention of discontent among the upper orders. So he adapted his sermon to that occasion. The bishop who was present was much struck by some of the analogies I drew. So the bishop was really impressed by the allusions or the parallels that he quoted. So Dr. Chasuble is, as you can see, a very resourceful kind of a priest who can adapt anything, the sermon to any occasion. So let us stop here and we will continue next time